At this point, Maddie's the only one who's actually physically been on the property. I'm really worried, like, what if it's not cool? I put all my money into this, sight unseen.
Janelle stood at the window of her small apartment in coastal Maine, staring out at the fog-shrouded harbor. The salty breeze drifted in through the cracked window, carrying with it the faint cries of distant gulls and the rhythmic slap of waves against the docks. It was a world away from the sprawling desert home she'd left behind, from the arid red dust of Utah to the crisp, ocean-scented air of New England. She sipped her coffee slowly, feeling the warmth seep into her hands. This was her new beginning, her fresh page, her chance to write a story that was hers alone. For years, Janelle had been defined by roles: wife, mother, sister-wife. But now, hundreds of miles from the shared house, the complicated relationships, and the constant hum of family life, she was stepping into a new chapter, one that promised freedom, but also uncertainty. Packing up her life had been bittersweet. Boxes piled high in the spare room held the tangible pieces of her past: family photos, children's artwork, quilts stitched with love, and memories folded into every corner. But as she loaded the last suitcase into her car, Janelle felt a strange mix of grief and excitement. She wasn't running away, she told herself. She was moving forward. The desert heat, the endless schedules, the delicate politics of polygamous family life, it had all taken its toll. She needed space to breathe, to find herself again beyond the roles she'd played for so long. The small town of Rockport, Maine, welcomed Janelle with open arms and a slower rhythm of life. Quaint shops lined the main street, fishermen mended their nets at the docks, and neighbors greeted each other like old friends. Janelle rented a cozy cottage painted seafoam green with white trim. Inside, the walls smelled of fresh paint and possibility. The space was small but warm, a blank canvas where she could build her own life. As she unpacked, her phone buzzed with messages from her children, her siblings, and even Cody. The distance was palpable, but the ties still pulled at her heart. Loneliness crept in on the first few nights, curling around her like the Maine fog. But Janelle was determined not to let it win. She joined a local book club, signed up for yoga classes, and volunteered at a nearby community garden. Slowly, she started to meet people who weren't tied to her past, people who saw her as Janelle, not just one of the wives. One afternoon, she met Claire, a woman who owned the town's bakery. Over coffee and freshly baked scones, they talked about dreams, regrets, and the courage it took to start over. "You're brave," Claire said simply. Janelle smiled. "I'm still figuring that out." The salty wind whipped through Janelle's hair as she walked along the rocky shoreline one crisp morning. The ocean's steady rhythm was soothing, yet her mind was anything but calm. She pulled her jacket tighter around her and glanced at her phone. Messages from Cody. From her children. From Mary, sending love and updates on family happenings. Her heart tugged in many directions, the past and the present colliding in an ache that settled deep in her chest. She closed her eyes and breathed in the sea air, trying to focus on the now. This was her chance to grow, to rediscover who Janelle was outside the circle she'd lived in for so long. Life in Rockport was quieter, but it wasn't always easy. The children missed their father and siblings. Janelle grappled with the ache of missing birthdays and milestones. One afternoon, after a long day at the local library where she volunteered to help children with reading, Janelle sat down with her journal. She wrote, "I am learning to stand on my own, to find joy in small things. But sometimes the weight of what-ifs and what-used-tos is almost too much." Despite the struggles, she felt herself growing stronger. She found peace in early morning walks, in the gentle rhythm of daily life, and in the kindness of her new friends. Claire invited Janelle to a community dinner. The small gathering was warm and welcoming, filled with people from all walks of life. Janelle found herself laughing more than she had in months. She shared stories about her children, about the ocean, and about her hopes for the future. As the night wound down, Claire pulled her aside. "You have a lot of courage, Janelle. You deserve happiness." Janelle smiled, a genuine warmth spreading through her. Maybe, she thought, this was where she was meant to be. One sunny afternoon, Janelle sat at a cafe, sipping tea and watching the world go by. She felt a spark, a flicker of inspiration. She pulled out her phone and searched for local classes. Art, writing, cooking, things she'd always wanted to explore but never made time for. Signing up for a pottery class, she thought, might be a good start. Janelle's days began to fill with new experiences, new faces, and slowly, a new sense of self. She still carried the love of her family with her, but she was learning to live for herself. As the sun set over the harbor one evening, Janelle whispered to the waves, "This is my chapter now.